Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about The Flash. First time for season 6, and it's going to be 5 episodes. The first 5 episodes. That is 601, titled Into the Void, which premiered October 8th. 602, A Flash of the Lightning, which premiered October 15th. 603, titled Dead Man Running, which premiered October 22nd. 604, titled There Will Be Blood, premiering October 29th. And then 605, titled Kiss Kiss Breach Breach, which had premiered November 5th, 2019, all on the CW or on Netflix if you weren't able to watch it on the Tuesday night, like I was not able to do because of classes ending right at 8. So anyways, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episodes already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episodes. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I will try to do this in 30 minutes. It might not go fully into detail like I do with my individual episodes videos, but hopefully 30 minutes is enough time to cover the basics of what I want to talk about for the 5 episodes. So let's start the clock. Let's begin with what happened in this episode. So actually, these episodes for The Flash have been really good in keeping you aware of the timeline. Because, okay, so 601 is, I'm assuming this wasn't stated, but 601, I'm assuming, is months since 522. I'm assuming it's about 5 or 6 months, the actual duration time between the events of the finale in May and October when 601 premiered. So I'm assuming that all the times in the Arrowverse when it comes to hiatuses usually match the real life hiatus we get. So that's something there. 603 specifically states that it's 7 weeks away from the crisis, which is supposed to happen in, I think, episode 608 or 609 now, I believe. Let me double check that very quickly because I know I got that wrong. I think it's 609 very quickly. Yeah, 609 is the crisis episode for The Flash. So it's 7 weeks since December 10th. 604 is actually not only Halloween, so at least that gives you a timestamp there, but it's also reaffirming the fact that it's 6 weeks until crisis. Because in 602, they actually got the official date for crisis happening on December 10th, 2019. And then 605, it's been stated that it's been 2 weeks since they've seen Ramsey, which he was last shown in 604. So 2 weeks between episode 4 and 5, which means it's 4 weeks until crisis. So that's actually pretty good. Like, I don't think they've specified so specifically like this before with timeline, so that load off my mind for sure. So there's that. So huge episode reminders. This is what I was talking about with episode wise. I'm going to try to pretty much break it down basics as you can get it. So with 601, not only is it the premiere, but pretty much all I remember is the black hole, since I did say this like 5 weeks ago. Black hole, the villain being Chester P. Runk, although he wasn't completely aware of it since part of his consciousness was the black hole. So that's that. 602, which I saw I saw it on the week of the 15th when it aired. I'm calling it Billions of Possible Futures. This is pretty much when Barry travels to Earth 3 to get Jay Garrick's help to try to figure out what's going on about this crisis, after being told at the very start of it from the Monitor that in order for billions of people to survive, the Flash will have to die. And he goes to Jay in hopes of getting an answer past that point, since he can't time travel past that date. So they find a way to move his consciousness past that date. And that's where he sees all the billion lines. It comes to this grand revelation of his that he needs to sacrifice himself. The villain of the episode, aside from the whole crisis issue, is Esperanza Garcia, aka Ultraviolet. So that's who the rest of Team Flash is dealing with. 603 is pretty much the team being told all the news about the crisis and then them reacting to that. This one more specifically, we get Frost's reaction to the idea that she just started living and now she's got to worry about dying because of this crisis and how she processes that. The villain of the episode is Mitch Romero. He's the first of Ramsey Rosso's experimental zombies, I'm going to call it. So there's that. Also, just a quick note, I don't know if it's because 603, 4, and 5 I had a binge watch on The Flash, so it's not me seeing it consistently for a week. So I don't know if it's just because of that or if it's because, like, anything else. But 603, the start of it, had me really thinking of a Supernatural setup, like the show Supernatural, because it was when the monster attacked, and since it was Mitchell Russo, who was pretty much like a zombie that was attacking them, it's like that's right on the money there. So I don't know if that's just because I'm a little flash withdrawal when I saw the episode, or if it was just me getting off a Supernatural high or something. I don't know. All theoretical that I'm saying, but just wanted to comment on that there. Moving on to 604, like I said, this was the Halloween episode. So we get a lot of decorations and references to that. There's no way you can forget that. This is where we get Ramsey becoming, I'm calling Dr. Death, but I'm pretty sure his code word is Bloodwork. It's up on screen what his official comic book name is. But this is where he fully goes dark side. So there's that. This episode also deals with Cisco's reaction to the crisis and how Barry doesn't want Cisco's help in trying to save him. So there's that. So 603, you can kind of think of it as more Barry and Frost bonding, and then 604 as more Barry Cisco bonding. So there's that. 605, we do have Cisco and Camilla helping Breacher find Gypsy's killer. This is where you get more of a backseat to Barry and Iris as they go on an off-screen vacation for a day. So there's that. The villain of the episode is Echo, aka Cisco of Earth 19. So there's that. The last scene of 605 is Nash, or the newest Wells, aka Nash, telling Team Flash to meet him at 9 a.m. the next morning in the tunnels, just before claiming that he knows how to save Barry's life. So that's up there. And then, of course, they give us a 1 week hiatus before we get those answers. So typical, right? So moving on to new characters. I'm going to do this very quickly because there are some key people that we met in the first 5 episodes of the season. The first one, 601, is Dr. Ramsey Rosso, the villain of the first part of the season. He is a doctor that has been diagnosed with HLH, I believe. Yeah, HLH, and it's killing him quickly, and he's like racing against the clock to try to find a cure against it. His mother died from it, so that's kind of, he's more pushing to try to find, and he's willing to do anything for it. And we see him go to dark matter to do it, which has turned him into this weird, gooey creature thing. So there's that. 602, we do get the introduction of Allegra Garcia, a meta who ends up being an intern at Iris's paper, The Central Citizen. So she does pop up again for sure. It's not just a 1 episode thing. We do also meet Joan Williams of Earth 3. This is Nora Allen's doppelganger, and she's also the wife of Jay Garrick. So that's something there. Definitely threw Barry for a loop when he met her. So there's that. 603, we do have the introduction of the newest Wells. So Harrison Nash Wells. He's looking for Ethereum, which is a multiversal element. He also seems to be tracking the Monitor. He seems more like the Indiana Jones type of an explorer. He also happens to be a geologist from what Cisco states. So that's something there. And then 603 also introduces Debbie Dibney, which is Ralph's mother. We do get a lot more family history about them and the dynamic that's come from it. So it's very, very interesting there. And then also 604, we don't technically meet her character, but it's Rachel Rosso, which is Ramsey's mother. We only see her through like very distorted flashbacks that he has of the time they've had before she died, and how HLH kind of took her life as quick as it did. So we meet her that way. But she did have her funeral in 601, and we do have more of an established relationship of Caitlin with Rosso. Rachel Rosso was actually Caitlin's mentor, to the point that close enough that Ramsey admits in 605 that he was jealous of her at first for a rival, but then eventually he came to see Caitlin as a sister because of her mentorship with his mom. So that's something there. Let's move on to tidbits very quickly. From 604, the only main tidbits I'm going to say is from 3, 4, and 5, just because I just finished watching them from Netflix, so they're a lot more fresh in my head. So from 604, we do have Gotham being name dropped in the episode. We also get the Dominator planet Swan Moon being name dropped, and a little Easter egg comment about the invasion 3 years ago that happened in that crossover. event. And then also we have Ralph making a comment about not looking for marriage in regards to his missing case, which is Sue Dearborn, which I believe is foreshadowing the fact that he is going to end up falling for her and marrying her, because that just seems like such a weird thing to say, first off. So that's something there that I already predict. And then 605 tidbits, I found that this is the episode where Cisco and Camilla both say "I love you" to each other. Not specifically those words, but they do imply the fact to each other. They do the cheat of like, you know that I, and then it's like me too. It's like the halfway type thing. So there's that. We also see, like I mentioned, Barry and Iris taking a mini vacation off screen. Iris also has a new hairstyle as well, which was, I really liked it, so I hope it stays. But I think for that one, it would have been cool is if she had her original hairstyle before she left for the vacation, and then she came back with this new hairstyle, and then just decided to keep it afterwards. So that would have been something there. Otherwise, there are some people who decided to get a new hairstyle before going on a vacation to kind of get in the mood of new things. So that's always possible too. So that's something there. Also, we do get the quick introduction of Cisco's little algorithm, the berry. Doesn't last long though, unfortunately, but it was so cute. So there's that. I wonder if that is what kind of starts Gideon initially, but since Barry is the one that started Gideon, so there's that. Also, we get Ramsey offering Caitlin the chance to join him in his immortality. This is where he clears up that he sees her as family and not as a potential love interest, thank God. But she turns him down, and he gets a little violent. So there's that. Nothing new there. But let's move on to most shocking moment of the episode. For 603, the most shocking thing that came out of it for me was Ramsey being able to control the dark matter substance that he got from Rich Romero. I still don't understand why or how at that point he was still able to. Was it because he already had injected himself with a version of the dark matter, and then the altered version was the one that he was trying to control afterwards? I have no idea, but it was a surprise and a little weird to see that happen. Like, it wasn't as weird when Mitch Romero himself, the zombie version, was mimicking his moves, but to see the actual goo of black goo just following his movements, that was a little weird and surprising there. So that was something. And then another shocker was the fact that for 605, it was the fact that Echo was another Cisco doppelganger. I mean, I was so relieved to find out that our Cisco wasn't the one that just blacked out and killed Gypsy, but that would have been one hell of a storyline to go down towards, and I would have done some shit to Cisco. But to find out that it was actually another version of him that did it, it's just like, wow. That was a great, interesting doppelganger moment to have. I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like the Cisco versus Reverb in season 2, and like, but it's always cool just to see those different sides of Cisco, and yeah, so there's that. At one point I thought he might say that, oh, I'm just a future version of you or something, and not a doppelganger, but like a future version of him. I thought that would have been the case, but then like, yeah, because before he started going into like stolen identities, Echo, so it's just like that could have gone so many different ways. So let's move on to top 5 favorite moments. I pretty much had 4, and that's pretty much by the episodes themselves. So let's start off with that. Episodes aren't really in order of favorite. It's just in order of when they aired. Make things a little easier. So let's start with 602, because I honestly don't remember anything that I was really like gung-ho about in 601. I mean, Chester was great, but I'm not going to count him as much. But 602, my favorite was the fact that Barry went to Jay Garrick for help, and then he was able to meet Joan Williams. I also like the fact that he got to see all these visions, and us as the audience got to see all these different visions of the upcoming crisis. Yes, it's a bad news type of a thing, but it's just so cool to see it visually, and kind of that's kind of like the first thing that amps us up about how crazy this upcoming crisis is going to be. I mean, if you don't follow Arrow or anything like that, like with Arrow, they've been pretty good of like amping up how big this crisis is getting. But for the Flash, seeing these visions and have Barry's reaction to the fact that he's seen billions upon billions of possible futures. He's seen billions upon billions of people dying. And it's just like to see his emotional reaction to that in any sense was just like, it was powerful. It really, truly set the tone of what it is they're coming to face in 7 weeks' time at that point. So that was something there. 603, I think, has to be one of my favorites out of the 5 episodes, just because of the focus being on Barry and Frost, or Killer Frost. It's still a little weird calling her Frost, but I love the focus on them. And it still a little bugs me that they were able to have like an episode where it was just the two of them working together and trying to help each other out, when I haven't gotten that from Barry and Caitlin in so long. So that's like a slight peevish there thing, but I love that Barry was able. Not only did we get them having a little bit of fight training, because Frost was pissed off and fighting the mannequin to death, and then Barry just pops in after realizing like, oh, where is her anger is coming from, and offers to be her target, and just having that type of session. And then that led into the emotional confession from Frost saying, I don't want to die when I just started living, and then them actually talking about it was just so great as well. And then it was just like the fact that also that she confessed that she doesn't want to die before she ever celebrated her own birthday. And then at the end of the episode, Barry offers to throw her a birthday party. And then you see her just dancing when the rest of the Team Flash come in. And then Barry's just dancing with like hats and glow sticks, necklaces around. He's just like, hey, kind of threw a party for Frost. It was just like she kind of picked the guest list. But it was just funny to have that a little, like, to see him just dancing and then try to explain it to the team. It's like, I kind of had to do this because the crisis is coming, and then they were all just partying and stuff. So it's just like, I really loved the dynamic that we got to see with Barry and Frost. So I don't know how much more I'm going to say it, so I'll leave it at that. Another favorite I did have is from 604, and that is, this was funny, okay? Because this is the episode where we also got to see Nash recruiting Barry and Cisco to kind of retrieve, to help him make this, the crypto circuit, and then in return they had to get this super serum thing, or miracle serum thing. So what I love about those three was their dynamic was just entertaining. I mean, Cisco with any Wells is just highly entertaining with their dynamic, but then to also just see how they still riffed off of each other, even though technically these three have never worked together before, but it was just hilarious to see it. So that was a favorite there. Another favorite was Barry and Cisco being able to talk about what this crisis would mean, and then Cisco confessing, like, what is there for me to look forward to after the crisis? What it's a world without the Flash, if it's a world without my best friend. And that just, like, that hurt. I could feel it. And it was just like, I love that they're talking about it. It's not just gonna be brushed away. It's just like, oh, okay, and then it's just having a fester. I really like the fact that they were talking about it. The fact that Barry says, like, I wanted to spend the day with you today to get you ready for life without me, to get you ready to be our leader. And then Cisco's like, I don't want to even think about a life where you're not here, type of a thing. So like the emotion was fantastic there. And which leads to my next favorite, which is the last scene with Barry and Joe, between them talking about Barry dying in the crisis and how Joe thinks that's not fair. He's done so much for the city, for the world, and yet his thanks is that he has to sacrifice himself. And then Barry tells him, like, I'm grateful. I've been grateful as the Flash. I've been grateful for everything I've been given. I've been grateful for Joe and the impact he's had on his life. And it got so heartbreaking, yet so emotionally impactful. It was such a phenomenal performance from the two of them. And it just, like, it hurt my heart in so many different ways, for the sadness of what they were talking about, for the joy of how much they were able to say how much they meant to each other. And it's just like, oh, that hurts so much, but I can't help but have it as my favorite because it got me feeling it with them. So that was something there. And then 605, my favorite moment was not only Breacher, because him coming is always fun, and he just brings a hell of a lot of different dynamics. And I didn't realize how much I missed his nickname of Siski for Cisco until he only says it once at the very end of the episode. I didn't realize that, like, that was a thing. I forgot about that. And then I was just like, damn it. And then, like, it was just funny. And then having him acknowledge Cisco as a son, and then also approving of his new girlfriend. And it was just like, Breacher, please come visit more. It was fun. And then also a huge favorite was just Cisco and Camilla. They like killed it in this episode. The support they had for each other, the fact that they were just all goofy when it came to trying to say I love you or accidentally saying it first type of thing. It was just like, I love the support. And it was just like, yes. I mean, when the two of them are shown together, they truly pack a punch. I hope we get to see more of this happening. Just like team right there. I love it. But yeah, they definitely killed it in this episode for sure. I mean, it sucks that it had to be such a depressing case, a personal case too, but I feel like that was a case they needed to really be on a team with and like actually be both invested in it. Cisco because it was his ex and it's someone he used to love, but then with Camilla, she's there because she wants to be there for Cisco. So it's like, yes, I'll leave it at that. Moving on to top 3 peeved moments. Only peeves I really picked out were from 604. The first one being the CGI obviousness of Ramsey's hand with the black goo. I mean, really? I get the thing is not moving black goo is not supposed to be real. But it's like, could you make it a little less computer generated? Like, it looked computer generated. I mean, I've seen Supernatural use that as ghost ectoplasm, and it's not generated. I've seen it oozing out of people's eyes, and it's not generated. And the thing that really I don't understand is that when, I don't know if it's because it's the part when they're making it move, but then when they're showing the black veins on Ramsey moving, and it's just like, that doesn't look computer generated. That looks legit. So it's like, what the hell? So that was a peeve there. That's more of a technical thing, because if it looks computer generated, it kind of takes you out of the world you're trying to establish here. You know what I mean? So that's that. Another peeve that I had, and it's something like I just don't understand, and it's like we get Frost getting into a fist fight with a zombie. I mean, it was great to show her creating her own brass knuckles with ice. I'm all for that. Cool. But then at the same time, Frost is on one end of the hallway, the zombie's on the other end of the hallway, and they just suddenly decide to run at each other and fight. One, Frost has the ability to use long distance projectiles. And I'm thinking, why the hell are you running towards your target when you can easily just blast her with your ice and just be done with her? Why do you have to be up close and personal and actually risk yourself getting hurt? So it's like, why? That's like bringing that's like bringing a sword to a gunfight. I mean, like, why? Why get up close and personal with the enemy if you don't have to? Like, you know what I mean? So it pisses me off. I find that they're doing that a lot with Frost, and I don't get why. If Frost has the ability or the chance to use long projectile weapons from her powers, she should use it. It's only when her powers are negated, then yeah, she's kind of forced to go into hand-to-hand combat if she has to, or if her hands are stuck or her hands are in a position where she can't really put those long range attacks in action, then okay, short range is the only option then. But if she's going to automatically go into the short range, is like, okay, I get that choreography wise that you want to make a cool fight scene, but then logistically I'm thinking, why the hell am I going to get in a fist fight with someone if I have something that can just hurt them from a distance? You know, please tell me you understand what I mean. So there's that. And then another peeve, I did mention it on Arrow that it was going to be a concern for mine, but in these first 5 episodes, there was no mention of the fact that Earth 2 was completely decimated. This happened at the end of Arrow of 801, where the antimatter wave just completely wiped out Earth 2. And if anyone, they only had Black Siren from Earth 2 who really had any attachment to the planet. So okay, I can understand that. But on the Flash, they know people on Earth 2. There's Harry Wells, his daughter Jessie, and it's the fact that they haven't gotten a hit on the fact that Earth 2 is just gone, and then not wondering, oh, what happened to their friends. That is what pisses me off, because I would have thought, if anything, Breacher might have mentioned something about that, how like, oh, all hands are on deck now that Earth 2 is gone, and then maybe it's like, wait, what? The team finding out from that way, maybe Earth 2 is gone, maybe finding out from Nash Wells that Earth 2 is gone, because as an explorer, I would assume he's been traveling from different Earths, maybe from that. Or what about just Star Labs being tuned up to NEM multiverse activity? I feel like if Cisco still had his powers, they would have known immediately that something was wrong with Earth 2. But now that he doesn't, that is why I was kind of saying, okay, maybe there might be a delay in them finding out. But the fact that in the 5 episodes so far, they have not mentioned Earth 2 at all, kind of pisses me off, because that kind of, and they're the ones I expected them to know that something happened to Earth 2, when it's been a huge thing over on Arrow. I hope that makes sense for you guys, but that's kind of where I'm standing with that. I was kind of going to reserve judgment, because I had it at that point. I only saw episodes 1 and 2 of this season, so I was going to reserve judgment in hopes that episodes 3, 4, or 5 may have mentioned of it, but it didn't. So I was like, wow, that's an automatic peeve right there for me. So let's move on to random questions very quickly. From 604 specifically, I had the question that if epinephrine is the bonding agent for Ramsey's Sogon quote-unquote cure, then why, and he claims that he needs to kill in order for endorphins to be in the blood when he takes it, why doesn't Ramsey just inject the epinephrine into his blood samples instead of having to kill someone so their body naturally makes it? He's a doctor. He should immediately try to find a way that doesn't harm people, and wouldn't just injecting epinephrine do the trick instead of just killing someone so that their body makes it on their own. I kept thinking, why don't you just inject it? You're injecting this blood into yourself. There's other things you could inject into the blood to make your bonding agent, right? So it's like, I'm no scientist, but that seems the logical step to do. So there's that. Another question was the fact that while I am loving that we're getting more screen time with Killer Frost, or Frost since she's rebranding, what about Caitlin? Because we only saw Caitlin in 601 and 605, and we saw Frost in 2, 3, and 4. But is Frost going to just be in the driver's seat for the next little while? Or, because I kind of thought that it would be like a split thing where it'd be like, okay, Caitlin, and then Frost, and then Frost, and then Caitlin. But like, I don't expect it to be like a full-on takeover, and Caitlin's like in the back seat just like chilling out type of thing, right? So what happens to all of like Caitlin's commitments already established, or we just assume that she could easily drop out of her life and no one's going to notice except for Team Flash, who's already in the know-how, right? So that's something there. And then also my last question was, is Barry aware of Oliver's deal with the monitor? And if not, Oliver to tell him, then wouldn't you expect Felicity to maybe say something to Caitlin or Cisco just after the monitor had taken Oliver with him at the end of 722 of Arrow? So I'm just wondering if I can understand if Barry didn't know Oliver's deal that saved him and Kara in Elseworlds, but for Barry to not know that Oliver's away from his family to do work for the monitor because of this upcoming crisis, and then for Barry to be aware that this crisis is supposed to be happening, would Barry want to know and kind of help Oliver out, or vice versa? I mean, with technology in these worlds, you should be able to communicate with each other a hell of a lot better than what you're doing now, which is non-existent, right? That kind of pisses me off too, that there's no communication between the two different parties, especially when they're so heavily. I can understand if Kara's not included because she's on a different Earth, so it's like she's not experiencing the same things. But like Oliver is legit in the middle of it all, and he's trying to stop this crisis. And then Barry is supposed to be dying in this crisis, so it's like, dude, kind of help a brother out who's also supposed to be dying, right? So that's something there. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 606, which comes back November 19th, which is just in a few days for me right now, as I'm recording on the 15th, if I didn't state that before already. We see Ralph and Barry crashing a high-class party for criminals, and it looks like it's their time to bond now about the impending life after crisis thing. Also, this episode is directed by Danielle Panabaker. You notice that we're always getting a hiatus just before her episode airs. The same thing happened in 518. I'm just saying. But I'm excited to see what she ends up doing with Barry and Ralph's undercover mission. Those are always fun. But the synopsis reads for the episode: Barry turns his attention to prepping an elongated man for life after crisis and without the Flash, but Ralph ultimately teaches Barry a lesson. Meanwhile, Cecile faces her own moment of self-discovery while helping a recuperated Chester P. Runk reclaim his identity. I low-key want Chester to be a part of Team Flash, but I'm wondering if he's going to be recurring, or maybe he might play a role in Crisis, or just what is Cecile going to do to help him out. I have no idea. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. That's all I have to say about the first 5 episodes. There's a timer, but what do you guys think of the season so far? What do you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Also, what do you think is going to happen for Crisis? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog, promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am a little behind because of school. Don't hold that against me. But, yeah. Same thing for WordPress. A little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress. But I post anything online is connected to WordPress. So just if you want to keep track there. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. The next time I talk about The Flash will probably be for Crisis. So be on the lookout for that. It is fast approaching. They are now starting to pull out the little teaser trailers for the crossover event itself, which starts on December 8th, I believe. So that's Sunday. Let me double check. Yeah, December 8th is when it's starting. Part 1 crossover with Supergirl. So mark your calendar for that. But yeah, so otherwise the next time I talk about The Flash will be for crossover, so be aware of that. So I'll be tuning in about that. Or if you want, check out my other videos that I post online as well. At the moment, the only ones that I do regularly are Supernatural and Legacy, just because it's on Thursday nights and that's the end of my school week. So I could do them. Arrow, I did one for the first 4 episodes because of reading week. So you can check that out as well. But yeah, so I'm going to end it right there before I continue rambling. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back to see what I have to say. Sorry if I said that all again. It's still in my head. But yeah, so this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week where you are. And I really need a drink for my throat. So I'm going to go do that. Bye, guys.